I'm back at it again today. The Hummel ultracruiser. I got the motor put back together. I've decided to flip the gear drive. Obviously, I haven't moved the drain and the vent yet, but it's got brand new pistons thanks to XPS Garage and his suggestion, which is really cool. I got the exhaust kind of back on it and a couple other odds and ends. I still have some wiring and some stuff to do with the electronics. Um, yeah, so trying to drop the center of thrust versus the height of the airframe, so it should be a little bit closer. That was the reason for flipping this. The only downside is it is slightly lower than what it would be with the half VW, but I figured slightly lower is probably better than 6 inches too high. So I am going to run it without a recoil. So we lost a bunch of weight there. I did my coil mount bracket out of the recoil mount housing in the fan shroud. Did a little bit of weight reduction through this head. I still have to do that on this one, so obviously the motor isn't done and sealed. I was considering doing some weight reduction through the cooling or the fins on the cylinders also, but mostly I don't have that kind of time to sit on a drill press and do that. I did some very, very rough maths, and I've upped the surface area on this head by 12%. We'll put a disclaimer on there of plus or minus 12% because I'm not all that great at math, but I counted the number of holes that I put through it, and I did some very rough maths on how many complete fins I have and some estimates on how many partial fins that I have and how many holes are in each, and it came out to roughly 12%. Plus, obviously, I'd cut up through the bottom to get some one weight because it's like 3/8 of an inch thick solid aluminum around the bottom, around the head, right? And that's a crap load of aluminum that you really don't need. So I clean this one up. We'll get to this one. So I have roughly 6 ounces of weight reduction there, plus a little bit of cooling. I'm going to be building my fan shroud to come off of the right side of the airframe. Whether the engine stays right side up or goes upside down, I haven't decided yet. I'm a little bit strapped for motor mounts right now. I'm looking for other options. So to get rid of these pipes to make this bracket wide enough so I don't need this at all, and then I'll anti-vibe mount the block on top of plates like this. So I gotta find a way to do up something like that, save a couple ounces, and do up some mounts that are a little bit different. But if I do it correctly, I believe that I can flip this thing. I can get within an inch of the center of thrust of what it should be, and I can have, well, likely I will have the exhaust out the same side. I'll just turn the cylinders around and turn the pistons around. Same engine direction, but just turn everything around because you can do that on a two-stroke. And I'll have the exhaust out this side, have the intake in that side. Down out the bottom, obviously there's some structure here that I have to take into account. So either it will fit or it won't fit. I haven't actually got to a good holding point to measure it all. I hope that this will fit just under right here on this motor mount. So it'll fit down underneath. Same with the carburetor on the other side. So it'll be hanging down just underneath, but the prop with the gearbox and everything flipped will end up high enough to be in the right position or nearly the right position. I haven't done a whole lot otherwise, other than more cleanup, and some unbending with some body hammers and stuff like that. My fancy new wheels came in, and I finally got my old wheel off. Somebody had a heyday with sticking that thing on there, but this is going to be my new wheel. This is 130 millimeters wide. It's a 5-inch wheel, and this is magnesium. Even the hub is magnesium, so this thing weighs as close to nothing as is possible. I've got some 4.2 inch wide tires and some 6-inch wide tires. Of course, I still got to do some brakes. I'm trying to get this hub off of this bent brake rotor. Yes, both of them are bent somehow. I don't know how that happened. But we'll get rid of those old brake rotors, get this hub, save the hub, I'll probably turn the hub open just a smidge just because this magnesium's a little bit on the thin side right here. But then we'll set that over top of this with either some grub screws or a key. And then, of course, we'll fix it to it in some relatively solid fashion. But I already lightened up the hub just a little bit, made a nice bevel. Clean these up. I've got titanium studs with aluminum nuts on the way to double my wheel width on the ground and to have flat tread on the ground, because this is what this had on it. To double it, it's going to cost me 2 ounces per wheel. So I'll have 4 ounces of weight gained, but I'll have a huge amount of surface area to go with it. So yeah, that's where we're at. I'm still waiting on Hummel to get my elevator and rudder that I've ordered coming, but this is the old one, so I'm not entirely sure how much of this is correct and incorrect, but it looks fairly close to the plans that I have. One thing I've got some concern about is blatantly how many holes and slots and things are drilled in this old one. I am not 100% convinced that the holes are in the right spot on the airframe. I will get to that point once I have the other elevator sort of sorted out. So I know I've got to get a turtle deck. Oh, hey, that's more dense. I get a massage. The turtle deck and the rudder support I've got to get sorted out, as well as decide how tall I want my canopy. I got to do some measuring. I got to get the buddy or the wife out here to do some measuring so I can justify exactly how tall I want my canopy, and get my FE's system, my FE's project put together. I've been working on a really cool project that I'll be filling y'all in with as we go along. It should be 2 pounds and essentially a full 6-pack with airspeed. So, with real airspeed, I should say. We'll see how that ends up, but it is pretty cool to have something that has compression and has piston rings that are loose. So, I've got new axle material coming. I've got 2 10-inch sections of 16mm OD titanium tube to do my axles with. Try to keep the weight and stuff sorted out. I was hoping to do titanium for my mounting too, but I haven't come up with a great... The actual motor mount itself I've been struggling with a little bit. It's like normal motor mounts are done. Let's see if I can grab one. Something like this. Right. This motor mount is designed to be held together by weight and have torsion be pulling and pushing, right? With an ultralight, you need to have strength to hold it down, and you need to be able to take a lateral load like this, forwards, backwards, whatever way the mount is designed. I don't know where this mount came from. I can't find anything like it. It's some goofy looking stamped steel with a bolt through the center kind of thing, but this is what I can find within reason. So if anybody's got any suggestions as to how I could do a Rotax 447 ultralight mount, anti-vibe, I guess, is probably optional, seeing as they don't really mitigate any vibration from the half VW motors, they just kind of bolt them in. So maybe I'm barking up a tree that I don't have to bark up at all and just walk around it. But we will see how it goes. I appreciate some of you piping up and chipping in some ideas. I'm always open to listening to all kinds of different ideas. I have learned quite a lot about mitigating corrosion and things like that. So, learning about oddball materials that don't have too much galvanic change, and some that do have a lot of galvanic change, like that seat back. I want to make the seat back out of carbon fiber because I like carbon fiber, I guess. So, but the tricky part is, the galvanic change between carbon and aluminum is pretty intense because carbon is conductive. So, some paint or other ways of going about it to make it not do that. I still have a bunch of cleanup to do inside the airframe. It's just been too cold to bring water out here for quite a while, actually. So as it warms up here the next couple weeks, hopefully I'll get this out. Actually, I need my axle material, my 16 millimeter titanium axle material. Then I'll be pulling it out, hitting it with a hose, drying it all out, trying to do a few different things that way. I have a few spots where I have holes that obviously I need to patch or clean up or whatever the case may be, and holes that were drilled by a dull beaver, ran by a dumb apprentice. So we'll clean up a few different spots, put some patches in, put some components in place to reinforce and strengthen stuff. But yeah, big thanks to Dennis Brooks and XPS Garage for giving me a hand with a couple of these things, and we'll bring an update here in the next couple of weeks.